What's going on, YouTuber? This your boy G coming back to you from the 432, and in this video I'd really like to share some thoughts and opinions over one of the main antagonists in the new Dragon Ball Super superhero movie, and his name just so happens to be Magenta, aka Mr. Barbone. And if you're wondering why I called him that, it's because we've already seen this character in one of the filler episodes of Dragon Ball Z titled A Girl Named Lime that actually happened during the Cell Saga. And if that's not crazy enough, this episode mainly focuses on Gohan, similar to how he is in the new movie. In this episode, Gohan was sent by his mother to make a grocery run to a nearby village where he actually saves a young girl named Lime, who doesn't necessarily thank Gohan at the time. But later on, as Gohan walks into Chasuke village, he meets an old man named Mr. Lau, who just so happens to be Lime's grandfather. Once again, another cameo to the new Dragon Ball Super superhero movie. Because Lime was one of the main characters in this episode, so will Pan be, and they both are granddaughters to their grandfathers, so just a crazy cameo for me too. Lime actually strategically hollered out Cell's name to scare off the thugs that tried to rob her grandfather's grocery store, that Gohan probably could have dealt with, but he later finds out that those thugs were actually sent by the Barbone family, that is actually led by Mr. Barbone. And folks, this is where things got interesting for me, because these two look very similar in my opinion. They both have their hair slicked back, they have the same curved nose, creepy smile, the butt chin, the cheekbones, jawlines, ears, eyes, and maybe not so much the mustache or eyebrows, but to me these guys look very similar. So after watching the entire episode, I went to do some research because I was very intrigued by this character. So I started off with their names. We have Magenta and we have Mr. Bourbon. Well, I found out that there is actually a Magenta bourbon drink with only a limited bottle quantity of around 40 bottles. My heart immediately started racing. So then I took his driver's name, Carmine, and looked up on Google what Carmine actually was, and it actually pulled up a wine brand, Carmine. But after being mind blown after that discovery, I decided to investigate the actual characters to try to see if there's any similarities between the two. Well, there was actually one that caught my attention and just sent chills down my spine, because it was said in the new Dragon Ball Super superhero movie that Magenta is the current president of the Red Pharmaceuticals, a front company of the Red Ribbon Army, which survived the Red Ribbon Army War. Together with his trusted chauffeur Carmine, Magenta seeks to resurrect the Red Ribbon Army. But in order to rebuild the army, he hired a man named Dr. Hiro to build him new and improved androids, similar to a situation that Mr. Barbone was in. In the Dragon Ball Z episode, Mr. Barbone was said to be a wealthy businessman and a mayor of a city that was close to Chasuke village, the same village that Gohan was getting groceries at. And what's interesting to me is that Mr. Barbone has two henchmen, Birdwell and Kazdan, similar to what Magenta has with Gamma 1 and Gamma 2. Very interesting and very similar, folks. But here's the kicker. Mr. Barbone hires Mercenary Tao, a Dragon Ball character, to protect him while he builds a protective dome, similar to how Magenta hired Dr. Hiro for help. Magenta is trying to build the Red Ribbon Army. Very interesting, very similar. The only thing that isn't similar is the names, Mr. Barbone and Magenta. But if you really think about it, his name is Mr. Barbone in the filler episode. What's his first name? Well, in Dragon Ball Super superhero movie, they're not calling him Mr. Magenta or nothing. They're calling him Magenta. So, in my opinion, his name might be Magenta Barbone. If you keep an open mind and combine the two, it's kind of like you're saying Magenta Bourbon or Bourbon Magenta, whatever way you want to look at it. But it's very interesting to me. Which led me to my last question, which was, how does Mr. Barbone tie into the Red Ribbon Army? Well, if you take it back to Dragon Ball, Magenta and Mr. Barbone look very similar to Commander Red. And I quote, the dwarfen commander and the chief of the most feared and ruthless militaristic crime organization, the Red Ribbon Army. The only question left to ask ourselves is Mr. Barbone, or should I say Magenta, related to Commander Red? And why are they trying to rebuild the Red Ribbon Army? Let me know what you guys think about this theory in the comment section down below. Do you guys think that Mr. Barbone and Magenta are the same person? And do you think they're related to Commander Red. What's gonna happen, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and if you're new to this channel, you can hit like, share, and subscribe to stay tuned for the next video. But until then, peace, love, and hair grease, my friends. This your boy G. I'm out.